So I didn't really watch the Sens win over the Habs on Saturday night because I was busy. I was spending time with family instead of watching the game. So the Sens, they have a good victory there, and then when I do watch them last night, they go out and have a performance like this. And even though the game was 4-3, let's be honest, the Sens were very fortunate to have that game only be 4-3. Lineup notes for this one: Erik Goodbranson goes back to Ottawa because his wife is expecting a baby. I hope all goes well there. So Josh Brown draws back into the lineup in his place. I would have preferred they put Erik Brannstrom in. I do expect Erik Brannstrom to come in the Edmonton games here coming up because, Josh Brown and Braden Coburn were, they were what they were. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are average at best at most times. That's even being complimentary to them. But with that being said, I think the next game, Brannstrom's got to come in. You can't just have this guy sitting on the taxi squad, and if you're just going to bring him up and have him on the taxi squad not doing anything, you might as well just keep him in Belleville and have him be playing some games. You got to develop this guy, especially who they traded for him. Mark Stone was the piece going the other way. He's having another great season in Vegas. You got to get Brannstrom into the lineup and get him playing games. And I don't give a crap if DJ Smith doesn't like him. You gotta put your dislike for Brannstrom aside if you're DJ Smith, and you gotta put him in the lineup because, like I said in a previous video, Braden Coburn and Josh Brown are not and should not be the future of the Ottawa Senators. Anton Forsberg gets his second consecutive start as well, and he picked up his first win in a Sens uniform Saturday night, but this one, you can't expect him to do anything in this one with how crappy the team was in front of him. So 2:10 in, Pierre-Luc Dubois scores his 8th of the season, assisted by Wheeler and Stastny. And right away, the Sens, they give up an early goal again. This reminds me of those 2 games, or 2 out of the 3 games in Winnipeg, where they're just kind of getting sacked by the Jets all the time. They just flat out weren't very good in this game. It's 1-0 Winnipeg. The shots would end up being 14-8 for the Jets in that first period. The Sens had 3 power plays, and it felt like all the 8 shots they got were on the power play, even though that wasn't the case. But I think they might have had like 5 or 6 of their 8 shots in that first period on the power play. They just really didn't get anything done 5-on-5. 4:19 into the second period, Adam Lowry scores, assisted by Andrew Kopp, 2-0 Jets, and things aren't looking good. But then Ryan Dzingel scores his 8th of the season, assisted by Conor Brown, and that comes shortly after the Lowry goal. And all of a sudden, things are looking good for the Sens. Okay, they're within 1 despite not, having a good game so far. They're definitely don't deserve to be here, but whatever, they're within 1 at this point. And then in the corner, Brady Tkachuk gets absolutely lit up by Matthew Perreault. It was a clean hit, I believe, too. I think Tkachuk just had released the puck. Perreault comes in, hits him, which was pretty surprising considering Perreault, I believe he's only 5'10". I'm not sure how much he weighs, but either way, Tkachuk is the much bigger man. But he laid Tkachuk out on that play. And Tkachuk doesn't like it. So what does the little sucky do? He goes and he slashes Perreault. What did Perreault do? He dives. Yeah, I'll come out and admit that. Oh, he definitely dove on that one. They probably should have called them both. One for a slash, one for embellishment. But they just call Tkachuk on the slash. And for me, I think it's almost a reputation call on Tkachuk. He's kind of known for being a guy that plays on the edge, who goes over it every once in a while. Now, he's not Brad Marchand type of dirty, or even as dirty as his brother Matthew Tkachuk, who, in my opinion, intentionally tries to injure guys. Brady doesn't intentionally try to injure guys. I think he's more of a hothead who can let his emotions get the best of him at time, and that's why you don't make this guy the captain, in my opinion. He takes bad penalties like that. I'm fine with him having an A on his chest, but as far as going all the way and giving him the C, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with that. I think you need to have a more respectable guy who doesn't lose his cool as much as your captain. A guy like Thomas Chabot, in my opinion, he's much more calm. Sure, does Chabot get frustrated sometimes? Yeah, but I don't see him out there, just hacking guys when he's frustrated. He's taking bad penalties. That's just unacceptable from Brady Tkachuk. Was it a dive from Perreault? Yes, again, it was. But if you're Tkachuk, don't even give the refs that opportunity to call that on you. just don't take a stupid penalty, or don't even, do something that will have the potential of giving you a stupid penalty. So if you're Brady Tkachuk, just stop doing that. It's really not necessary. And it looks like the Sens almost get away with that Brady Tkachuk bad penalty, but they don't. With 1 second left on the power play, Pierre-Luc Dubois scores, assisted by Kopp and Ehlers. Who cares? So again, I mean, the Sens look like they're out of dodge. That was like the most Sens thing ever. You look like you're out of dodge on a penalty kill, and then bang, they score. Counts as a power play goal for Winnipeg. They're up 3-1, and that was just... Yeah, I mean, everyone's frustrated because Perreault did dive on that for sure. It was a little hack. I mean, he went down like someone shot him. But for Tkachuk, like I said, don't even give the refs that opportunity to call that on you. Kyle Connor would get his 18th of the season, 4-1, and it's just looking like, the Ottawa Senators of January all over again, where they just would get beat up all the time. What is it with the Sens and the road that just doesn't match? Like the last, I'm going to say 3 years now, they've been an absolutely terrible road team. And for me, the true sign of a team that's maturing and developing well is being able to not necessarily always win these tough road games, but you're hanging in there with even these really good teams on the road, and you're with them step for step. You're not getting blown out on the shot clock. You're right there with them, creating lots of chances of your own, defending well in your end of the rink. And they just don't do that on the road. Now, I'm not asking to go in there and throttle the Winnipeg Jets, especially at the stage the Sens are in their development right now. They're still really young. But, like Ryan Dzingel said in his post-game interview, they've been through enough now, like through 40 games, or 39 to be exact. They've been through enough now that, games like this shouldn't really be happening all that much. 46-23 were the final shots in this game. You got to be better than that on the road, and that's a true sign of a team that's maturing if they can clean up their road play. And yes, I know they beat Montreal on the road 6-3, but they got to start doing it in some of these western cities because they really struggle there. And, they had a chance to do that last night in Winnipeg, and they just didn't. They just came out and they were a disappointment, huge disappointment. The third period, Logan Stanley talking about bad penalties. He takes a bad penalty, roughs up Chris Tierney. Tierney on the cycle. Stanley gets his hands up a little too high on him. Sens go to the power play, and what happens? Well, 10:25 in, Josh Norris scores his 9th of the season, assisted by Dzingel and Mike Riley. Riley now has 17 assists on the season. I thought that was pretty interesting. I would like them to hang on to Mike Riley in light of the trade deadline coming up here this Monday. They should hang on to him. I think he's a good puck mover. And another guy they should hang on to for a very long time is Josh Norris, the guy who scored the goal. What a release by Norris. I think he's got a really underrated release. He's got a really underrated skating ability. He's way faster, I think, than people give him credit for. And like I said, the release on his shot's pretty darn good too, and he really roofed that one on Connor Hellebuck. At this point, the Sens are within 2 despite not deserving it at all. Conor Brown would make things even more interesting as he would score his 10th of the season. Conor Brown now has goals in 4 straight games, so there's some food for thought there. I mean, Brown, when the Sens first got him, I didn't really know what to expect because he was coming off kind of a down year in Toronto, but he wasn't really getting much opportunity. Now that he's getting a lot of opportunity in Ottawa, he's really picked up his play. And the last couple of years, last year and this year, he's really shown that, he is much more of an offensive threat than he's maybe shown in the past. But let's not forget that he did have a 20-goal season in the 16-17 year, his rookie year in Toronto. And the assists go to Anisimov and Dadonov, so the 2 Russians getting in on the action. Anisimov had a really good game last game, by the way. And I know I've been hard on this guy. A lot of people have. But he's a sneaky good player. But I wouldn't re-sign him, though. I would maybe even try and trade him out at the deadline if you can get something for him. I just don't think he's really a part of the plans going forward. Even though he is a centerman and the Sens need centermen, I think they have some young guys coming that can fill that spot, no problem. But good luck to Anisimov. He seems like a likable guy, but I don't think he'll be around here next year. Then the Sens pull the goalie with about 1.5 to 1:40 left. They really just didn't get anything done with that extra man there, advantaged, extra attacker. Just had a hard time getting set up in the zone. The Jets were all over them, clearing the puck out. and eventually Winnipeg hangs on to win this one 4-3. And like I said earlier, spoiler alert, yeah, the Jets outshot them 46-23, 22-6 in that second period. I know Winnipeg had some power plays, but Ottawa had 3 power plays in the first to Winnipeg's 0, and they only mustered 8 shots on goal to Winnipeg's 14 in that first period. And for the Sens, they got to be better, and I find they kind of play a system where they're hanging on, they kind of have that bend but don't break type of mentality. And you got to have a mentality or play a system where you're thriving, not just out there surviving every shift. And at times, yeah, they do look good. They're in on the forecheck and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's just still too much space in their D zone. I don't know if that's coaching or the players just not being defensively aware. I think it is a little bit of both. The coach does have some responsibility to share in this as well. But with that being said, I think the players also have to be more mentally sharp in their defensive zone. And they still give up a ton of high danger chances. I believe they're one of the worst teams for that in the league, giving up those slot shots right in those high danger areas. So that's got to stop if they want to have a chance at progressing next season, especially if we get back to things being normal and Ottawa playing all the teams. Like, they would just get torched against teams like Washington, Boston, Tampa, Florida. You know, even the Rangers too, they got some pretty good skill on their side as well. So they really got to clean that up going forward. So those are my thoughts on this game. Please let me know what all of you think in the comment section below and about the Sens' poor play. But like I said, those are all of my thoughts. They'll play the Edmonton Oilers. There was a bit of a schedule change on that one as well. I want to mention too, this was a makeup game. This game was supposed to be played in May. I believe it was like the second or third last game of the season for Ottawa. Now they will play Edmonton instead of Wednesday, Friday. They play them Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday at 5 o'clock, another weird 5 o'clock start again. Then they play 7 o'clock at night against Edmonton, both of them in Ottawa, of course, on the following Thursday night. So there's that for you, and then they go to Toronto on the Saturday. So let me know what all of you think in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe and share this video as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all again soon.